I hate to say this, but your website doesn't exist to look pretty. It exists to turn anonymous visitors into leads or sales when you're asleep. Yes. Gosh, this took me so long to really get this, but your website is your 24/7 sales rep, nothing else. Let's build you a high converting website. Who's ready? Okay, when it comes to building a high converting website, I would say there are kind of 4 big steps. Step number 1, you choose the right website platform for you. Step number 2 is you do a quick competitive analysis. Quick, right? Don't waste hours on this one. Step number 3, you define your brand. And step number 4, you build your website. And I will show you some examples of do's and don'ts as well, so that you really create a high converting website. Okay, step number 1, choose the right website platform for you. Okay, when it comes to a platform, I mean, you can use WordPress, you can use Squarespace or Showit. I would say when it comes to all of these options, like WordPress is definitely the cheapest option, but personally, it's not very user-friendly, I have to say. So, you probably have to hire someone at some point to help you out, and this is why I didn't go with WordPress personally. The next one is Squarespace, which is super easy to use, but you can't really customize it a ton. And so this is why I actually decided to use Showit. I love Showit. It is like super easy to use and you can customize it like in a crazy way without having to hire an engineer to write code for you, which I love. If you want to check out all of these 3 different platforms, I will make sure to put a link in the description down below this video so you can just take a look for yourself. But again, I love Showit. I love Showit, and I just really think that they also have a superior customer service. They like answer with like little gifts too. It's like great, and they're really fast. Okay, step number 2, do a quick competitive analysis. When you start out, like you don't really have the resources, like the money and the time to hire a team for you to really just do all the work for you, right? And what I always recommend is just study your competitors' websites and figure out what are different themes, right? Because they probably invested a lot in A/B testing things and you can learn something from them. So when you run a competitive analysis, the other big piece too is don't get lost in it. I know you can spend like months on this. Don't. Like literally set yourself like a time. Let's say you do it for a few hours or so and then you sketch out kind of like what's the pattern that you see, and that's what you then use for your website. Okay, and then step number 3 is you gotta define your brand. Like, what are your brand colors? Choose like 3 to 5, 3 more on the brighter side that you can use for the background, for instance, and then some accent colors, but also make sure you choose some good fonts and photography, really key. And I really wanna give you a quick tip here in terms of photography. So when you use images on your website, make sure to use good stock images. So don't just like use the ones that are screaming stock images in your face, like you can tell. Use something like Unsplash because it just looks more professional and it's for free. And the other thing too is like when you put pictures of yourself out there, make sure to hire a good photographer because this makes all the difference. Like, the first impression is really key when someone lands on your website, and if the images are blurry, not a good first impression. So here's the other thing too. If you decide that you want to hire a professional photographer, really make sure that they know about branding and personal branding. Like, don't just hire any photographer. If your value is, for instance, like all around nature, then make sure to take a lot of pictures in nature. So really make sure that you work with a professional who knows personal branding. Step number 4, build your website. So now that we have done all the pre-work, it's time to build your website. And so we go through the anatomy of a really high converting website. And we're gonna look at a few examples, the do's and don'ts, so that your website is set up for success. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna go through different websites and we're gonna take a look at the structure. And the idea is to look into like different modules and then kind of make sure that we model whatever the most successful people out there actually do, because they have the resources to A/B test. We don't yet. So this is why we're going to learn from the best. So you can see here, the first module is an email opt-in. So if you click on this, you get to an email opt-in right here. You can see this. So as I mentioned before, your homepage, the number one reason that it exists is to turn anonymous users into leads or sales. So this is exactly what Jenna Kutcher does here. If we go back, you can see here kind of like this is her intro header, where you see I'm Jenna Kutcher. Then you learn a little bit more about who Jenna Kutcher is, her successes, and then you see another module with all the credentials. So she was featured in Forbes, Today, Women's Health. So this immediately helps increase trust. When you go down here, you can see a quiz, and I can tell you the quiz is another way to convert your anonymous users into leads. So you really want to bring any visitor into your universe. And then you can see here, she published a book that you can order right here. A few other downloads. So all of these downloads are freebies, but again, they're there to turn anonymous visitors into leads. And then you can see here, podcast. So Jenna Kutcher is very well known for her podcast. So what you can do here is you can actually listen to some of her best podcast episodes, which is really cool. And then the next module is all about her blog. So you can read her blog if you want to. So she has beauty, business, and personal. And then learn with Jenna. So now it's all about all the courses that she offers. So this is where she would turn visitors into customers. Perfect. And then next module, okay, Russell Brunson. He's like the CEO of ClickFunnels, and he's the godfather of funnels in general. So this is a really, really good testimonial to have. Again, it's all about increasing credentials. And then here you can see next one is her journal. So that way she's advertising her journal that you can get. So you can see the homepage is kind of like really exploring everything that Jenna Kutcher has. So it's kind of more about showing her entire portfolio. So you can see her brand is about beauty, business, and health. And also that she is an investor. So you can check out probably all of these brands here. And then here is this module is all about her story and what she stands for, and her ideal customer is probably a mom. So this is why she has a lot of mom content here too. And then you see another one, get my editing preset. So this is another product that you can buy from her. And toward the end, really key, is like if you haven't opted into her email list yet, or you haven't become a customer, this is like kind of her last chance to do so. And then what's really cool is you see here kind of like the footer. And the footers, think about it more as like the shoes of your outfit. And they really play a crucial role when it comes to your website. So you can see here, you can go back to the top. You see that you can follow her on Instagram, Pinterest, or her podcast, and also Instagram, which is her main platform. So this is really key because a lot of people don't really spend a lot of time on the footer, but people do scroll all the way to the end. So it's really, really key to take a look at this. Next up, let's take a look at Amy Porterfield. So right away, you see an email opt-in here. So it's a little bit of a welcome, the first module, as well as trying to get you to become an email subscriber. And then you see the credentials again here, and this is really key, her story. And a little bit of like, hey, here's where you're at. This is where I used to be as well. And here's, what I did when I followed my passion. So it's kind of like bridging the gap between where your customer is now versus where you can be. And she is already there. So she's showing you the way to get from A to Z. And then the next module is about her book. And then here you see free guide and free quiz. Again, what is the goal of this? It is to turn you into an email subscriber. That is, again, the main reason why you have your website. Then you can also see here that Amy Porterfield has her podcast, which she is very famous for. And you can listen to her probably best episodes right here. So again, the homepage kind of gives you a little bit of a good feel for what it is that Amy has to offer. And you can have here another really good credential. Mel Robbins is a big personal development guru. So awesome that she has this quote here. And you can see here, this is her Instagram feed. And again, similar to Jenna Kutcher, at the end, you basically see that you can opt into the email list. And that is kind of like your last chance, right? Because we're already scrolled all the way down to the bottom. Another thing that's really, really important is the About section. So I completely underestimated this, but apparently the About section is the second most visited section of your website. So it's basically telling the story of how it all started, as you can see here. Oh, there's a pop-up to get you to the email list. I tell you, it's so key. That's the number one job of your website. Okay, so you can see here she has a timeline, and I think, if I remember correctly, that Jenna Kutcher has the same. Let's actually check back real quick. Yeah, you see About, and you see here, I'm Jenna. And the About section is all about really telling the story so that you can relate, right? So she started out with a problem, and it's probably the same problem that you're facing, and then it's all about how did she become the person that she is today. So you can see this all here. You have the quiz. So it kind of like looks a little bit like what you have in high school, which is really cool. And then she has a timeline too. Look at this. So you can see she started out in 2011, and here you can scroll all the way to 2023. And you can even see her team right here, which is really cool. So Amy Porterfield's as well as Jenna Kutcher's websites are a really great way to figure out what modules work on your website. By the way, if you want to brainstorm and need a worksheet, I have actually one that you can just download below the video, and it shows you kind of the anatomy of a high converting website, and then you can just like plug and play and brainstorm a little bit of what yours will look like, if that's easy. Yeah. Let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite website? Who's done a really good job? Just share it with the community so that everyone like knows what a really good website looks like, and that way we just learn together and be better together. By the way, if you've been planning to add a blog to your website, but you don't really have time to write one, then make sure to check out this video right here. And if you're interested in adding affiliate links to your website to make some money while you're asleep promoting products you absolutely love, then make sure to check out this video next.